content of both commercialisation and globalisation in football, focusing on the key stages and components and characteristics, while also giving examples of when football has been commercial and globalisation, covering on the pros and cons of the examples while referencing our source and quotes and examples. The definition of commercialisation: the process by which a new product is introduced into the market. It is the process of managing or running a sporting business for financial gain. As a strategy, commercialisation requires that for a business to be run correctly and successfully in sports, a business plan is needed. A sporting team uses their players as products in order to gain money and be successful, such as Man United signing Zlatan Ibrahimovic and focusing on shirt sales in order to generate enough money to be able to buy Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba is another player who Man United bought, who would generate the club profit through shirt sales. Therefore, their plan helps United create gains on and off the field. Belshaw, 2017.
Kennedy, 2012, stated that football originated in the 1850s and was first only played for leisure. Interest in the sport increased as the sport developed to being played competitively all over the world. Since 1980s, large economic development has been pumped into the sport, with it increasing yearly to this present day. This has created the sport to become self-efficient, and the industry is now one of the biggest sporting industries in the world.
After the 1980s, sponsorship became key to the commercialisation of football. Beach 2016 states the biggest change in sport was the sponsorship and stadium naming rights and broadcasting rights. The amount of stadiums that are named after their sponsors is increasing. An example of this is Bolton Wanderers. Their stadium was previously called the Reebok Stadium from 1997 to 2014. However, now called the Macron Stadium, as their sponsorship bought the stadium naming rights. A key component to commercialisation of football was the introduction of the Premier League in 1992. The global TV right in the season 92 to 93 were worth $8 million a year. By 2013, that figure soared to a staggering $5.5 billion a year. 50 years ago, this was not the case. Development of television technology has altered the nature of sports production. Grattan et al. 2016. This shows that the introduction of the TV and broadcasting rights has made football into a multi-billion-pound industry. This is the reason TV and broadcasting rights are now the most important factor to football teams.
Sweeney, 2016, believes professional sport is nothing without supporters. Supporters groups can play an even larger role than they do now by mobilising a collective voice for key structural reforms that's happening in their club and demanding a seat at the table. This quote shows that football needs its supporters to function as they are a large mass audience, and the clubs make their money out of them in various ways. This is a huge reason why football developed as a whole over time. For example, if fans aren't happy about something, then they will boycott the game products, knowing that this will affect their team and therefore this gives them a seat at their table. Another sport that is commercial is MMA. As Reed and Mason 2016 stated, a very successful example of sport that has become very commercial today is the growth of the sport MMA within a very short time period. As MMA has gained a level of legitimacy with a significant global audience, this was mainly down to UFC. This indicates, as the UFC gained so much popularity, it gave MMA an audience to become commercial too. And this audience grew rapidly with UFC stars like Conor McGregor and Ronda Rousey under the name of MMA. Pay-per-view was introduced, and this opened the door for sponsorships to take an interest and invest in MMA. According to Beach 2016, the most significant change in sport as a business has been the onset of commercialisation. This has seen the involvement of external stakeholders in sport, with the injection of large sums of money, both directly to the clubs in the form of sponsorship and stadium naming rights, and indirectly to the clubs via their league through broadcasting rights. This is to the advantage of football, as it has had a large exposure through TV broadcasting rights to a mass audience. This has led to more sponsorships for the club and therefore impacts the growth of revenue. This also benefits football clubs to then attract the best players to the club, as well as providing increased levels of funding to improve resources, coaching or facilities. An example of disadvantages to commercialisation in sports is, according to Coakley and Pike's 2014, is that commercial sports are those organised and played to make money as entertainment events. Therefore, as the influence of TV sponsorship came in, it has changed the timing of games for entertainment purposes. Therefore, in football, it has lost some of their traditions.
Globalisation is the process by which businesses or other organisations develop international influence or begin to operate on an international scale. Rick, Batts, Maddox and Andrews states globalisation is a complex and diverse process and one which impacts on virtually all aspects of our lives, including sport. An example of this in football is teams signing foreign players in order to expand their global fan base and increase interest in their club worldwide. Man United were a club who did this, signing Park Ji-sung not only for his footballing ability, but to increase their Asian fan base and worldwide shirt sales.
Merriweek 2016 states that the EPL is now a global brand and the value of the TV rights makes the competition the richest domestic football league in the world. Pre-season tours have been crucial in supporting the escalating value of those rights through globalisation. When Premier League teams like West Brom, Leicester, Crystal Palace and Liverpool went over to Asia and competed, it gave local fans a fantastic Premier League experience.
Grattan et al. 2016 believes that popular sporting events that can attract a global audience via broadcasting become ideal vehicles for corporate sponsors seeking to raise the global profile of their brands. This quote means that many large companies use footballing events such as the World Cup to increase their businesses globally. FIFA 2014 states that 715.1 million people viewed one single match during the World Cup. This shows how global sporting events can be, and therefore how companies can advertise their business on a worldwide scale.
Churchill, cited in Browser et al. 2015, voiced that, as a consequence of its globalisation, tennis has become a commercialised sport featuring players as marketing commodities, huge broadcasting rights and sponsors, competing for exclusive rights to events. Therefore, companies like Schlesinger, Adidas, Nike, etc. are in competition with others to keep their sponsors on individuals and events.
Westbeak 2010 says that the most recent wave of globalisation is its technological advancements that has led to achieving a higher amount of success with potential customers. This means an advantage of globalisation has been that sport has gained more customers, making it a self-run, multi-billion-pound industry.
The disadvantage to globalisation in football is for lower league teams that aren't in elite leagues, so their club is not seen as globalised and therefore not recognised around the world. With the likes of TV money, the Premiership League clubs benefit a lot, whereas Championship teams don't have access to the amount of money. Therefore, when they do get promoted to the Premier League, they struggle to compete with globalised teams in this league due to their financial dominance the elite leagues have. This is down to unequal opportunities to be televised.